Welcome back to One on One. We're talking with bespoke couturier Ozwald Boateng. Oswald, fantastic hearing about all the things that shaped you through your childhood into getting you to where you are now today. But let's talk about some of those defining moments. Back in 2003, Givenchy made you the head of the menswear collection. You were their main guy.
Yeah.
And to what point was that, you know, a moment where you recognized what you could do?
Well, the interesting thing for me is, I mean, I'd already built a very established name by that point, and I'd been offered many creative directorships of many companies prior to it. So when I got the offer, it wasn't an unusual proposition. And even the first offer I got from the group, I went and had a look at the brand, and it wasn't appropriate for me. And then eventually I was approached with Givenchy, and it was the brand that I felt that I could really bring something to. There was a third brand, but I opted for Givenchy. Was that a defining moment for me, becoming creative director at Givenchy? It's interesting. I'd probably define lots of defining moments when I closed down Savile Row. That was a big moment for me. When I opened my first space on the row, and I had a catwalk show the full length of the street. Or when I did my first catwalk show in Ghana. You know, I was a youngster, and it was kind of, I wanted to do it, and it was televised by Close Show Live, you know. I mean, it's interesting, but Givenchy was significant from a trade perspective. It was
you were also the first black designer to be the head of a fashion house,
absolutely.
Fashion house,
so I think the significance of Givenchy really was, it's the biggest luxury goods company in the world, and they selected me to be their creative director. And, you know, I was kind of, you know, Arnaud had chosen me. And so that was a very big message for the industry. The significance of it, though, I would say, is being of color. I think it was a huge point in France. And, you know, I get stopped in the street regularly by anyone from a minority group there, congratulating me for becoming a creative director at Givenchy.
And in terms of the personalities, that when you look at the fashion world, there's such a range of people. Who are the personalities you look at?
You know, when I look at the world of fashion, when I was 16 and I decided I wanted to design clothes, I looked at all the big names, and Giorgio Armani was one of the significant names that just jumped out at me. And in fact, when I was defining what name I'd go under, you know, because you could create your own name, you know, and I said, well, I looked at all the top names and I realized that everyone used their own name who were really most successful. So I thought, right, I'll use my own name. And I made sure that visually my name looked right. And so, yeah, it's interesting. You brought my memory back to my beginnings of actually the reason why I used my name. But Giorgio Armani actually was the one designer that I always said that, you know, in years to come, that's the place I'd love to be.
Now, in terms of your getting worldwide acceptance, you went out a couple of years ago. You're there, ready to conquer America, and as you were planning to go out there and introduce Ozwald Boateng as a brand and name to Americans, what was it you thought they had missing? What was it you wanted to add to their sense of fashion? And their fashion?
America. There's loads of things I want to do there. I think really for me, the whole breaking into America is I dress a lot of celebrities, I've got a huge following in America, and I've never just supplied it. And I think the TV series was really about charting the decision-making process.
This is House of Boateng, I should point out. Yeah.
Exactly. Making the decision-making process of finding these stores and these locations and finding the right partners, because it's something I don't want to do alone. And I was very fortunate that Robert Redford wanted to get behind me to do this TV series. So they spent a fortune, like millions and $20 million promoting it, size of buses, commercial across all the networks. I mean, I did a press conference with Robert Redford. 200 journalists. Robert's like, I couldn't employ a better PR machine for myself other than Robert. And so that was definitely a defining moment, I must say. And that was good. And it opened the door for me in America in a way that I could never dream about. The thing is, I still haven't opened the store yet, which is, I still haven't locked on the right partner, but it's wide open. They want to do another series to promote the hero who's going to open the store of Boateng, and I'm very excited about it.
Tell me about your work, Made in Africa Trust, and some of the work you've been doing in Africa, because I know that's become a big part of your life.
Well, I mean, this is very much something that I've been pulled into, mainly because of my frustrations across Africa, which has been that, you know, when I go to Ghana, the open drains, and the fact that Ghana is a fantastic country, it's stable, but yet nothing's happening. It's just, and I just had enough. So two of my friends, we set up a company. It's called Made in Africa. And basically what we do is we try to find vehicles to help cash flow into the continent. One of the biggest issues is getting access to capital, to development, and to look at development in a sustainable way. So, for example, we're working on a project in Kampala. We want to build the first sustainable city. So it's solar power, waste into energy. Now, the interesting thing, we have abundance of the sun in Africa, so that's really good. Waste, we don't have to get rid of waste. So these are the sort of projects we look at. And because I'm a creative, my partners are kind of unbusiness-like individuals. We don't limit ourselves in what we believe. And then what we do is we get involved with companies who have the expertise to support us. And I think I feel the main reason why we've gone into this is to demonstrate if a tailor and a barrister and a prince, which is the combination, can actually start resolving the issues of Africa. What about the specialists in those fields? So, and so that's kind of the message of what we're putting out there.
What burning ambitions do you have? Is there anything you really want to do you haven't had a chance to yet, which is there on your list of things to tick off?
I have a huge passion for movies. You know, I've got a hobby of shooting short films. I've made about 15 or 20. You know, I directed an animation, made this film in China, so I'd like to make a feature. There's 3 movies that I want to make. One, which is, I've got a strong view that we need to have a movie about an African hero. You know, I'm announcing that so someone else can do it as well. You know, it's not my full-time job, you know, but I think it's necessary to be done. And, you know, so those are really, I'd say, my main kind of long-term ambitions. As for me and my business as a fashion designer, you know, I'm opening a new store on Savile Row, which I'm really excited about. It's, I feel I'm going to take menswear into a new area. And I'm just really focused about opening as many of those stores around the world as possible. I'm looking at India, looking at the Middle East, I'm looking at America, I'm looking at Russia. For me, it's, I feel like I've reached a certain critical mass with my business in terms of brand awareness. Now I need to get my distribution to support that.
Years and years and years down the road, when people look back on the world of Ozwald Boateng, what do you think they're going to say? How would you like your legacy to be remembered?
Wow, that's a big question, man. By then I'd like my name to be worldwide, global, you know, I'm kidding. But I mean, you know, I've always loved where Giorgio Armani's position as a business worth $6 billion, so I'll be happy with that. So I want that. How will I be viewed? See, that's a very difficult one to answer. You know, I want to be able to achieve all the things, so I'd love to have stimulated a way of the development of Africa. I really want to see that happen. And when I say development of Africa, I want to see sustainable cities built. I want to fly over there and be blown away like you go to Dubai, or you go to Hong Kong, or you go to China, and it be in Africa. Be it in Sudan, or be it in Kenya, wherever it is, across the continent. I want the young people of Africa to really have a chance. I'd like to see African Americans have a stronger relationship with Africa, because I think it's very important. So when people look back about me, if they say those things, would that worry me if it's achieved? No. The thing for me is, as long as it gets achieved, that's all I'm concerned about.
Ozwald, I wish you luck. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.